Okay, so in the next podcast, this is a very, very brief podcast. I'm going to shift to the presidency of Mirabou B. Lamar. And we're starting to get some names that we recognize, Anglo names, in post 1836 Texas. Lamar, there's a Lamar High School in Houston, there's a Lamar Middle School in Austin, there's a Lamar, Texas. I think there's a Lamar College. So we're starting to see Anglo names come into Texas and superseding and replacing Hispanic surnames. So Lamar was the president that was elected after Sam Houston in the Republic of Texas. You couldn't succeed yourself. In other words, you couldn't have two successive terms as president. Houston will come back, but he had to give up office. He had to step down for Lamar. And Lamar was a pretty significant figure in the history of Texas, especially in the Republic of Texas. And as I say, in the next series of podcasts, I'm going to talk about Lamar. He had a very different vision of Texas than did Houston. Lamar wanted Texas to be an empire. He wanted Texas to stretch from the Sabine to the Pacific Ocean. He had this very, very grandiose view of what Texas should be, whereas Houston pretty much wanted Texas to be part of the United States. He tried to make that happen when he became president. It didn't happen, but it's going to happen during his second presidency. Now, the second thing about Lamar is that he also claims, as did many Texans, that Texas existed all the way up to Wyoming. And if you look at the map on that I posted, and you see this at Buc-ee's, you see this Texas map, you see this really long panhandle of Texas that stretches up into Wyoming. And that's based on where the Rio Grande River, the headwaters of the Rio Grande River. Texans claimed that Texas owned every area east of the headwaters of the Rio Grande River. And the Rio Grande River starts in Wyoming, goes through Colorado, into New Mexico, through Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and then down to El Paso into the Gulf. And so that's why you often will see this crazy map of Texas. And if you ever wondered what that shape, where that came from, it's the Rio Grande. So Lamar and Texans, he's the kind of president that would claim that. Texans claim that territory. But let me remind you that in reality, the Republic of Texas was the very small area that had been during the Spanish and Mexican period. So don't be surprised if you see on a quiz or a midterm the claim that Texas made that Texas territory stretched all the way up to Wyoming. I wouldn't mind if Texas actually was part of Colorado and New Mexico. I really love those areas. I think people in Colorado and New Mexico would get physically sick at the idea of Texas owning that territory. So anyway, what you have once again is a gap between Texas aspirations and reality. And so as I say, with the next podcast, I'm going to shift into the presidency of Mirabou B. Lamar, the second president of Texas.